Yes. You don't have to give the statement of witnesses to them here. And what more remains to be done, and how long will it take? 6 months, 1 year or so, or if a forensic science report is called for, about to establish the authenticity of documents, it has been sent to them. So all this has to be there. Status report by itself cannot be only say here, case registered, under investigation.
All right.
I mean, you have to say what you have done.
Professor Soos, several people have been saying that if this particular report has been looked at by the law minister, then several other reports in the past too could have been looked at looked at by the law minister and several others as well. So certainly the credibility as far as several other reports too is in question.
This is the first instance in my information that such a report has been looked into, particularly where the government is a guilty party, by law minister of the government here. It has never happened in the past.
Yeah.
And I hope it will never happen in the future also.
That's true, Professor Soos. It has never happened in the it has never happened in the past is what he's saying. We've seen this happening now, and we hope that we don't see it again. I mean, this is something that it is truly embarrassing, isn't it?
Rather, I would say that it has come to the light for the first time.
It has come to the light for the first time, yes. Certainly.
No, nobody has shown the reports.
Professor Soos, go ahead.
So, you see, Justice Khan has clarified the position, status report and the investigating report. And when things come up before the Honorable Supreme Court, then it will be possible for the Honorable Supreme Court to have the last word, and we shall get to know that. We have to wait. We cannot jump at the conclusions, as many of us in the debate often do. Let us wait, and in the meantime, therefore, I had said that a congenial atmosphere must be created in the Parliament by all stakeholders, that Parliament should function, questions should be raised, questions should be answered. And therefore, the primary responsibility goes to Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay.
And its members, swarm into the well and create a situation, don't allow the question hour, and it has become a routine for that party. So therefore, we must know what is democracy, India's democracy about. They have as much responsibility to uphold the democracy in India as the ruling party. So therefore, BJP has created a deadlock. The deadlock must end.
Okay.
Wait for the Honorable Supreme Court's decision on this particular case, and in the meantime, let us proceed with the business, law-making business and other business.
Captain Abhimanyu, the deadlock has to end is what Professor Soos is saying. Is the deadlock going to end if the Law Minister and the Prime Minister resign? Is that what you want?
Yes, of course, without doubt. And I would also like to make a comment on what Justice Khan had said. That when he says that, when he tries to suggest that there is nothing wrong if the political executive has seen the status report, then I am surprised that why is Supreme Court feeling so very disturbed about the whole thing. Then on March 12,
Captain Abhimanyu, you are saying that deadlock will end if the Law Minister and the Prime Minister resign. My question to you is, you are saying the deadlock will end if the Law Minister and the Prime Minister resign. No. You are just taking political advantage of this particular situation. What about the entire system itself?
See, sir, Supreme Court heard is no proof of a bad action by the government. See,
go ahead, Captain.
Unless you allow me to make a comment. Frank,
go ahead.
Frank, you allow me to make a comment on what Professor Saifuddin Soos has taken a cover in the suggestion made by Justice Khan, that if the political executive is correct in seeing the report, then why is Supreme Court feeling so disturbed about it? And secondly, on March 12, why did the Attorney General's office representatives say that no one in the political executive has seen the status report? Then why did Supreme Court ask them to give it on affidavit that no one has seen it? Why did Supreme Court even file it on affidavit?
Justice Khan,
the whole issue for last month and a half,
go ahead.
the whole issue is whether the political executive is capable of seeing it or not.
Justice Khan, I would like to know from you, do you think that it was improper on part of the CBI to share
I'm sorry.
particular report, or if it was not improper, why this is so halagulla on this issue?
No.
Why everybody is talking about it? If it was so normal, there was no impropriety, then we should not have in fact debated this issue.
No, it is because of ignorance. It is because of lack of the governmental procedures. Just a minute.
Just a minute. It is not because of ignorance. Supreme Court judges are not ignorant.
No, they don't know the government procedure.
They are in fact asking for explanations, and you are saying that this is just because of ignorance.
No, once explanation.
I'm surprised to see this kind of an argument.
What do you? I have an experience of being there for 20 years. I know better, or you know better. What I am saying is that when explanation is given to Supreme Court on 8th, that's a hypothetical situation.
With due respect,
suppose government procedures or government rules of business are brought to the court, and those provide for a vetting of a status report affidavit by an administrative authority. Supreme Court will feel satisfied.
Okay.
So if there is a one page, what are you alleging Supreme Court disturbed? If it is a one-sided disturbance, as you call it, which we don't find it's a disturbance, it must fructify in a judicial order. It's not like this. Out of ignorance, if you say all kinds of things, you don't know how the government functions.
But it can't just be ignorance, Justice Khan. It just can't.
Because there is an ignorance between status report and investigation report.
Captain Abhimanyu has a question for you. Go ahead, Captain Abhimanyu.
Let him answer.
No, do you deem it proper?
What?
No, Justice Khan, do you deem it proper when the coal ministry officials who are accused in the coal black allotment scam,
even if
they go on to the extent of seeing the report? Do you deem it proper that the Prime Minister office officials, the Prime Minister who was the cabinet minister of coal, who are involved in the scam,
surely not.
the status
This is
report
being
of
done in the governmental working.
against themselves? It is
As
not
an advocate general, I am submitting it to the minister.
Okay.
This is a part of the governmental working, because government has to take the responsibility for what is being presented to the court.
In that case, we have to understand one thing.
Not investigation interference.
No. Okay.
There is a difference between the two things. If government is the prosecuting agency, government is the one who is being investigated. In this case, the allegations are against the coal ministry or the officials of the coal ministry, and you are showing the status of the investigation to the same ministry. I don't think under which law we can do it. We are, in fact, the coal ministry's officials are being investigated. Their role is being looked into. The allegations are that there was large-scale
He has a point.
In this case, where is the natural justice?
He has a point.
You are investigating your own case.
This is not a case of being a judge and the prosecutor the same person. This is not a case like that. Government is an institution. It has to function. Accused may be one officer, but three officers have to defend. For example, there are guidelines for coal allocation. Is it not for the concerned ministry to say that those guidelines were followed or were not followed?
Supreme Court so concerned about the autonomy of CBI.
How you look at it. You have to have some experience of government working, number one. You have to have some distinction between what is investigation and what is a status report. And then you must also bear in mind that law minister has an accountability. Every action of the government goes through him for legal clearance.
Okay. Okay.
So must an action of what is presented in the government case before the Supreme Court. But he can't influence any investigation. And law minister is knowledgeable enough to know that he can't interfere in any investigation.
Okay. Professor Soos, of course, several members of the public and also the BJP have said that the CBI is not in fact the Central Bureau of Investigation, but it is the Congress Bureau of Investigation. This is something that we've heard very regularly in the past as well. Are you for making the CBI an autonomous body?
No, they say now as part of their game what they play in the parliament. But it has always happened this way. Mr. Joginder Singh has made out a case for a constitutional status to the CBI. That should be considered, and that can be done, that should be done.
How serious are you about that?
But what is happening now must have happened throughout. But the BJP that time was in power. So everything was okay. And now they find everything wrong. So in my opinion, BJP has also gone wrong. You see, in the wrong direction, and their design of deadlocking the parliament is to create a situation. They want to create a political, deadlock in the country, and I can assure you that they are being watched by the people of India who want to be informed, who want to get their minds enlightened as to what kind of debate is taking place in the parliament, where questions should be raised, where questions should be answered.
Okay.
And as I was saying earlier, it is not possible that the ministers and prime ministers will go to the Supreme Court to express an opinion. Supreme Court has a different jurisdiction. They are protectors of law,
the nation is crying
but the
for
law-giving body is not
investigative agency. Are we going to see that happen anytime in the near future? Because both political parties, I don't think, want to see that happening.
No, but this is a very important section. It should have a constitutional status. Why not? It should be considered.
I don't think any political party is interested in solving this problem and getting down to the bottom of it. I think it's a despicable act. I think it was cynical. I think it was corrupt. And I think as the people of this country, we really have to look seriously at ourselves and about corruption and about the business of the CBI functioning under the government. I don't think it's possible for the CBI to function under the government and still do reports of this kind without leaking them all over the place. You see, the problem here is, as a people, is today we have no choice. We find that the Congress and the BJP are equally cynical about the law of the land and about breaking it. You know, once you are in the opposition, you are up in arms. When you are in power, you are up in doing exactly what the Congress is doing. So I don't know what is the future of this country, to be very honest.
What is going to be the future of this country, Anita?
Well, right now I think it's not the future of the country, but the future of the law minister, and the government. And I think that will be pretty clear on May 8th.
Is this going to hurt? Is this going to hurt the government come 2014?
Well, I think this will be one more issue. There have been a series of issues which have kind of hurt the government, and this is just one more issue which is giving, further ammunition to the opposition to beat the government with. I mean, you've had the 2G, you've had Colgate, you've had others, you've had all these CAG reports, very adverse kind of reports. I mean, right from this job, the Rural Employment Guarantee Program, on that, civil aviation. So there have been a series of reports, which have kind of reflected very poorly on how the government programs have been functioning. So this is just one more thing, another addition in the long list of kind of
all right.
issues which have kind of been raised
right now, because I understand that Professor Soos, of course, has another appointment to keep and he'll have to leave. But one final question from you, Professor Soos, before I let you go. I'd like to ask you, of course, several analysts are of the opinion that the UPA government should, the Congress should dissolve the government and go for a fresh mandate, because as and when time keeps going on, the Congress is only going to keep getting hurt because of issues such as these. And several members within your own alliance have come out and said that, maybe it is going to do the UPA a world of good if you go in for early elections.
Oh, you see, my perception is different. I am an incorrigible optimist. We are a vibrant democracy. Our future is very bright. And all the three organs of the polity must function independently, constitutionally, and that is what I pray this evening. And therefore I was raising this question with the BJP. You allow the parliament to function, questions will be raised, questions will be answered. And let us wait for the Honorable Supreme Court to give an opinion finally, and that should be acceptable to every shade of opinion in India.
All right, Professor Soos, thank you so much for joining us on the NewsX debate tonight. Of course, much appreciated.
Please allow the country to function.
Yes. So, Captain Abhimanyu, the same question, of course, that I posed a while ago. Do you want to see an autonomous CBI, independent CBI?
Yes, absolutely. We've always made a case for the autonomy of CBI, and we also suggested earlier our leader of opposition, Srimati Sushma Swaraj and Arun Jaitley, had repeatedly said that the Lokpal will only be effective if we have an autonomous CBI. Without that, we cannot have an effective eradication of corruption in this country. So I can assure you, as an official spokesperson of BJP, that we are in for autonomy, complete autonomy, total autonomy of the premier investigation of India, investigation agency of India, that is CBI.
Justice Khan, will the Supreme Court's observation strengthen the CBI in the near future?
Yeah, depends. And see, if it
Do you see that happening?
Yeah, it must happen. See, it's not that only CBI must be made independent of government influence or control.